All right, so today I'm going to talk about a very controversial topic amongst some people. It's been my focus, been the entire focus of my life for the last almost 2 years. There's always something. Give you a little bit of backstory. I have 2 kids. I was with my ex for about 10 years. Got pregnant at 16 and then again at 18. Thought we were being careful. Little did I know. I decided to be different. Stick around. Handle business. When my first daughter was born, I picked up two more jobs on top of the job I had. Basically dropped out of high school. I was lucky to have a dean that let me know where I was at all times with my schooling. He knew where I worked through conversations and the trouble I went through in high school and, dealing with kids in high school or a kid. So I graduated, got my high school diploma. Woo. But through this process, I had 3 jobs. I worked at 2 restaurants and a dealership changing oil. Through all this, I worked 3 jobs for years. And if I wasn't working 3, I was for sure working 2. Till about 5 years ago. Their mom, or the ex, couldn't stand working. She worked at McDonald's, Target, went through temp agency, several daycare centers, Cub Foods, Rainbow Foods. I mean, I lost count. Several restaurants. And more than once at each employer. And every time she left these jobs, it was, they're cutting my hours. They're cutting my hours. Or my boss is a jerk, basically. I'm going to keep the language clean for the video purposes, but my boss is a jerk. So I always told her, hey, I support whatever decision you make. If that's what needs to happen, You just need to find a job right away. However, I gave her the whole spiel. Job hopping is a bad idea. You're never going to be able to build a resume. So the conversation, what do you want to do? Now, of course, this is over a 10-year span. Lots of these conversations were had. What do you want to do? Well, I want to do daycare. So I said, okay, no problem. I'll invest some money in starting a daycare business for you. However, you can show me that you can get clients. She showed me she could get clients. Some anyways. Luckily, I didn't invest some money in the daycare business because she got into many disagreements, quote unquote, with these clients that she was babysitting for. Always. She couldn't keep work and personal separate for whatever reason. So that didn't work out. Yeah, she babysat for people off and on throughout the years. The next venture was cleaning. Say, hey, you know what? You can't hold a job longer than 4 or 5 months. Let's start your cleaning business. It's flexible. Don't have to worry about daycare with the kids. You can set your hours. I'll help you get clients. I even went there on top of the 2 jobs I was working to go help clean and interact and meet with the client so I could show her how to handle people, how to sell more work. Well, 3rd job we were given, she failed to show up to. I forgot. How do you forget? That's your livelihood. Well, the next venture was the latest venture. It was photography. And rewind back to the cleaning business. I invested about $3,000 in cleaning supplies and equipment. I even bought it in bulk. I don't know why I was so confident, but I had high hopes. Photography business. This was about year 8 into it. Still couldn't hold a job longer than 6 months. This is when she's floating between daycare centers. I invested just over $3,000, which, mind you, I'm still paying on my high interest credit card. Bought her a 4K touchscreen HP laptop for photo editing and to manage the business with Microsoft PowerPoint, or Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, Word. Built spreadsheets for her to manage the financials of the business. Bought her all the photo editing software you could possibly imagine, and a DSLR camera with various accessories, of course. All she had to do is get the clients. She loved taking photos, so I said, you know what, this is the last shot. This isn't my highest hopes. She didn't know how to put the camera down. Her phone camera, anyways. She was always messing around with photo editing software, so figured it'd be a good opportunity. She didn't use it at all. Nothing. I even advised her, said, here, go out, do tons of demos for free. Build your portfolio, and then you can start selling work. Never happened. I even helped her build a Facebook business page, and we were looking at maybe building a website. Once she started getting clients and had a portfolio built, no, none of that ever happened. I just burned about $3,500. So we'll let up to the end of it. She got an amazing opportunity to sell insurance. When you sell insurance, you can make $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month, maybe more, depending on who you work for. All she had to do is pass state licensing exams that was paid for. Not once did she pick up the book to study. It was a week-long deal. Let me tell you, her boss was super unhappy. In fact, it was our insurance agent. So, needless to say, I was super embarrassed, got away from my insurance company. That's what led up to the end of it. I got tired of being sole provider. I spent my entire teenage and lesser of my adult years 100% emotionally, financially supporting her and the kids. Those kids meant the world to me, so I was going to do whatever it took. That's why I worked 2-3 jobs. My career, I started off at $6.50. That was minimum wage when I started working. I grew that up to, I would say, almost 8 or 9 times that amount. Maybe a little bit more. I was making 80 to 90 grand a year. Life was good. I was starting to finally catch up in life. Well, I decided to make this separation, and it's been a process. Now, keep in mind, I've always had the best interest of my kids in mind. Always. Since day one. Since the day they were born. I was always there. I just couldn't take it no more. So, start this whole process, I should say. My ex began to lambaste me on social media. Friends, family. And I got tons of threatening text messages and emails and phone calls. I had to block over, I think the count is like 73 people on social media. Had to block over 70 phone numbers. It's horrific what has happened. It all started because she told everyone that I kicked her and the kids out of the house. Not true. I told her she needed to set a date where she can move out. Said you and the kids can stay there as long as you need. Let me know what works for you and when you figure something out. 2 weeks later or so, said she's moving with her brother. Okay. So we arranged a date. She got belongings that were gone through together. And they're very specific belongings. I told her she got whatever she wanted. You have the couches, bed, whatever. She didn't want all that stuff. She just wanted little things. So, came to get her stuff. Her brother, and her mom. So she lived with her brother for about 8 months, rent-free. Through this time, I paid her about $800 a month in child support. Mind you, we had a 50-50 custody agreement that we arranged on our own. And I willfully gave her money. Also, I gave her a car to drive. Free and clear. I kept the vehicles with the payments. I also fixed her vehicle after the separation, free of charge. I paid for the parts, and I fixed it myself. Try to do the good thing. Well, she took her stuff, lived with her brother, 8 months, something like that. Rent free, no expenses. And she got about $800 a month from me. And there's 1 month in there that I wasn't able to towards the end because it was getting kind of tough. The reason why I was getting kind of tough is she kept showing up at my work. She almost hit one of our employees in a parking lot because she was upset. Come to my work. She caused all kinds of riffraff, constantly trying to fight and argue with me. My girlfriend at the time, it was a couple months after separation, she went to my wife's work, or was my girlfriend at the time. Locked herself in her office. Demanded I pay her more child support. Mind you, I had to take a large pay cut just before that because she kept showing up at my work. And my boss nicely said, I think enough's enough. I spent about 10 years with that company. Said, you know what? I get it. I went down fighting, but I just wasn't working. All the emails, she emailed my work email. She'd call my work nonstop. You're probably going to ask about what? Who knows? It was anything and everything. It's cold over here, and I don't even have a jacket because literally I put them before me. Always. I've been struggling trying to make it paycheck to paycheck. All this debt that I was left with. I had to take a huge pay cut. I've now had 4 jobs trying to find a place that I can make some money at. Some real money where I was at. All open promises. I get a large guarantee for a little bit and then it goes down. Now, she would show up at my house, my work, call my work, call my phone. Through this process, I'm dealing with court. Judge would tell her, knock it off. Next court date, knock it off. Nothing changed. Nothing at all. Till basically I disappeared. I made police reports. They told me to get a harassment restraining order. Police are like, she's crazy. Sometimes all you can do is follow the harassment restraining order process. Well, fast forward. I did. Judge denied it. Didn't even get so much as a court date. Even with video evidence. I have video evidence of her going into my mailbox. We'll talk about that later. unfortunately, it's a broken system. And there's nothing that I can do or say about it, no matter how much documentation I have. I have a complete timeline of everything that happened. Calling, texting, showing up at my work, documentation of conversations with my employers about it, my wife's work. Me and her were never married. I have no rights to my kids, turns out. The judge wants to give me rights. Wish it worked out that way. Not so easy. Last time I seen my kids is almost a year ago. Hardest thing I've ever had to do. I wish things were different, for sure. But unfortunately, they're not. So, after Christmas, my youngest daughter, she had appendicitis. It wasn't emergent. She needed to get her appendix out the next day. So, next day I show up in the outpatient surgery waiting area. Our mom chooses to embarrass us. You're such a bad father. You should have stayed at the hospital with us last night. And, yeah, I mean, I get it. I would have been there if it was an emergency. It was an emergency. And this isn't the first time. It was any time they got a cold. Even throughout the 10 years, it was hospital instantly when they got a cold. There was something wrong with them at all the time. Like, it would literally be just a cold. There is countless misdiagnoses. Thank you to our Minnesota healthcare system, all paid for. I should say non-diagnoses, not misdiagnoses. And probably about 4 or 5 times, she brought the kids to the hospital after we were separated. And she wanted me to be there. It was a 911 emergency. And it wasn't. So this time she actually had appendicitis. So you're such a bad father in the waiting area, and there's people everywhere just staring. I'm like, now's not the time and place. She got more upset. I just sat there in silence. I didn't know how to respond to that. I'm the type of guy that always just tries to let stuff go. But I didn't let this time go. They call us back because she's getting ready to come out of surgery. So we're sitting in the waiting or the meeting area. She goes, "You had no rights to your kids. You can't be here." I just sat there. Nurse walked in and said, "He's not supposed to be here. He's not the father." Nurse is very polite, but she said, "Well, you can't be here." So Why? I'm the dad. She goes, he's got no parental rights. Nurse said, yeah, mother's request, you have to go. I said, this is what it is. Started driving back to work, so I was late to work, my new job, for no reason. Get to work, and I'm totally embarrassed because my boss goes, I thought your daughter had appendicitis. Yeah, she did. But mom kicked me out. Turns out she was blowing up the receptionist to get me to come back. She tried calling me. I shut my phone off. I was so upset. So I shut my phone off. So she tried calling my new work, which I don't know how she found out, because there's only 2 people pretty much in the entire world that knew that. Probably following me to work every day. It would not surprise me. So that's where I drew the line. She's invading my home. If I wanted to be with her and hear and see from her and talk to her every day, I would have stayed in the relationship. That's just one example. There's a real problem here. She did not leave it at that. It's kind of the next thing that came up was our initial case management. Sat down with the judge, reviewed kind of what we wanted out of the whole deal. What we each thought was best for the kids. Judge agreed with me, told her mom, said, can't be doing that. It's not okay. So we set up time for me to, parenting schedule. Didn't work out very well. After the judge specifically told her, do not contact him, his friends, his family. Don't go to his work. Don't call him. He will find a way to contact you. That's your third party. If he wants a third party, give him a third party. He will find a way to contact you. 3 days later, I get a text message from my friend, which, mind you, lives 2 blocks away from me, and was my previous co-worker. Texted me and said, she's here. Sent me a picture of the kids. Said, hey, why was she there? Oh, he said she was just in the neighborhood. Mind you, she lived 20 miles away. So what's she doing in the neighborhood? Well, I said, okay, so what happened? She just sat here and complained about you the whole time. I said, really? Yeah, like where the kids are around? Yeah, they're right next to us. I tried to get them to go play. Yeah. That's where the alienation begins. She's talking to my friends about me like that. Imagine what she's saying around her friends with the kids around. Next court date comes. Told the judge, I said, hey, this stuff is still going on. This has got to stop. Well, she said, knock it off. Can't do that. Don't do that. I asked the judge, I said, if we proceed with this, what's going to happen if she doesn't listen to what you're telling her? So there's no court-ordered documents at this point. And even if there were, what's the course of action? So here's what the judge told me. She better not. I'm a judge. I said, okay, I'm going to trust our judicial system. Nothing changed. Not a single thing. Aside from the fact that I had to change my phone number. She logged into my Netflix somehow, even after I changed the password. And named the little titles what kids? Not you. Are you kidding me? Like, what? Now, biggest issue is it still never stopped. I could talk for 4 or 5 hours till my face is blue. Here's some recent events. About a month ago, found her going through the mailbox. So I filed a no trespass order against her. That's the only thing that I could do. Her new baby daddy didn't like that too much. After she was served with the no trespass order, 2 hours later, he shows up and tries to start a fight with me. Not even kidding. Got that on video too. I ignored him. Lucky there's people at my house, my wife and brother-in-law, so I could call the police and have it documented. And so I didn't lose my temper, because she has alienated the kids, she's alienated the judicial system, and everyone else around her. When you take my kids and my family from me, that's it. That's one of my triggers. But I never let it get to me. Not in a bad way. So I'm on the phone with police. Right before they get here, he peels off. Luckily, they pulled him over. We did no trespass against him too. But I ran his criminal background. He's been charged with arson, burglary, grand theft auto, domestic abuse, kidnapping, assault. I mean, you name it. I think a couple of charges were dropped or reduced. But if you've seen the rap sheet on this guy, man, drug charges, great for the kids. Let me tell you. And the restraining orders I filed, I did note that against both of them. Nothing. Anyways, mail. Phone note she went through the mailbox. I was kind of wondering why I missed a court date for child support. Imagine that. Well, I never did receive a court-ordered document saying when the court date was. First court date. So, all I had to go off was what the judge had in mind from the previous hearing. So I put it in my calendar, my phone. I took off of work that day, went to court. It was the week before on a completely different day. So that was not a confirmed court date. Missed a day of work for that. Sweet. So I got some financial packet in the mail from the child support office. Filled that out, dropped it off there. So what the heck is going on? I missed my court date. How? I didn't get anything. Not sure what happened. They did file for continuance. So your court date's going to be on this day at this time. Guess what I did? I showed up for court that day. Didn't matter though. It was at a different time. There was an updated order. As I'm told by administration anyways. There's an updated order sent out, which, mind you, I never received in the mail. How convenient. Once again, documented by police officers and by video. She went through my mailbox. So I said, how? How can this happen twice? They verified my address to me. I said, well, I know you guys got my address. I got your financial packet for child support. Pretty convenient. I can fill that out and then not show up to 2 court dates. And I showed up to every other one. In fact, I told my bosses about them, put them on their calendar immediately. Well, said, well, you can file an appeal. Awesome. I will do that. So immediately I went up to talk to my child support officer. My child support officer, I kind of gave her a very, very minor lowdown on everything that's happened. And she was, I'm so sorry. She legitimately was empathetic for me. I'm like, wow, someone's listening to me. Thank you. She said, here, go talk to the magistrate. She should still be in this courtroom. Okay, I'm going to go up there right now. Thank you so much. Went up there. Courtroom's locked, of course. Talked to the personnel at the desk or the security up there. And I said, hey, my child support officer, she said, come up here and talk to the magistrate about my case. I need to let her know what's going on. I said, who told you? I said, my child support officer. Blah, 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 blah. I'll go talk to her. So, they went in there and came back out and said, magistrate's not talking to anybody. Oh. At this point, I'm freaking out. Don't know what to do. We're still trying to establish custody and parenting time. She's withheld the kids from me. And now I'm going to get stuck paying what they were estimating prior was a third of my gross income and equals to about half of my net income. She's going to make more than me. Not even kidding. Not even kidding. And so I called back child support officer. Said, she's not going to speak with anyone. She goes, really? She won't speak to you? I said, yeah. She's like, okay. Call the county attorney. I'm going to text the county attorney right now and tell her to call you back right away. Gave me the county attorney's number. No answer, left a voicemail. Didn't hear back. I called again. Didn't hear back. Finally, this was on a Friday. She didn't call me back until Tuesday afternoon. Kind of explained what was going on. Said, file an appeal. Too bad, so sad. So that's all I can do. Yep. You can't even hear me out. I wanted it documented that I showed up there, and mind you, I was a half hour early to the time that I was given from when I went into the child support office, drop out my financial paperwork. They gave me a court date with the time. Yeah, unfortunately that was a waste of time. Now, they want to hit me with about $13,000, something like that, in arrears. Over half of my net income a month to basic support, to include medical, basic, and child care. I even tried to bring up, what do you mean child care? She's got a part-time job, and they're school-age kids. She's working the system. I have obligations. I'm going to pay them. But she's made it impossible for me to see my children. And like I said, this is a very, very, very small sliver of everything that's happened. Today, she logs into one of my old Facebook accounts. One I even forgot about. I was an entrepreneur at heart. I was going to start my own online business. Never was able to. It was one of my dreams. This was 8 years ago. She logged into this and messaged me today. See how bad of a father I am. I should be paying child support. I haven't tried to see my kids. No, I have tried to see my kids. More times I could possibly even count. I was there since day one. Emotionally, financially, physically, mentally, for my kids. They're the primary reason I stayed in the relationship for so long. So they didn't have to live in a broken home like I did. See, she just messaged me again. Huh, interesting. I haven't blocked her yet because I'm trying to figure out what she wants to do and say. My kids, I don't want them to be like me. I grew up in a broken home, and father walked out on our family. Purpose of this video is to raise attention, and I hope this gets to everyone. I'm just one guy. But how many other people is this happening to? She's part-time. Her paychecks are $100 a week, and yet she wants reimbursement for daycare expense. She gets private scholarships. Court system is disregarding because they don't know anything about them. There's no proof. She's got food stamps, housing assistance. She lied on her court document saying there's only one adult in the household. She's alienated the kids to the point where when I had the kids, it was, Mom said we don't have to listen to you. That was out of their mouths. And this was just me asking them to get ready for bed. Oh, truth came out. Nobody will listen. And I want this video to hit everyone. And I'll probably start making more videos because I probably have hundreds of hours of video footage. I hope this gets to everyone. I hope this raises enough attention that the system is messed up. It needs to be changed. And kids I can't see, that's difficult. But what can you do? Nothing. You just sit here and take it. Because you have to. Law is law. Hopefully this helps somebody. Hopefully this raises attention. I don't know. Something happens of it. I really hope it does. Because this can't happen to anybody else. My life has been destroyed aside from what I have now. I'm going to work on building a future from where I'm at, which I won't be able to because I can't even make enough money to get to work every day. Oh, also, I gave her that car, right? Through the process, I had to sell my motorcycle, my car that I was making payments on, and a truck. Had to consolidate them all to get rid of the negative equity and consolidate in one payment. Saved me about $300 a month so I could make child support payments. I got into a pretty bad accident. Rolled my truck. Total loss. I don't have a car. Luckily, my friend's been borrowing me a car for about 8 months. I still can't seem to scrape up the cash to buy a vehicle, nor do I have the credit to because she destroyed it from all these medical visits with the kids. I have to give my friend his car back. I'm not going to be able to drive 40 miles one way to work anymore. Shoot me an idea on that one. Alright. Everyone take it easy. Like I said, I hope this gets somewhere important.